Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this short video, we will be discussing about the defer keyword in Go. Here I have a small program which first prints the string defer, then prints 1, 2, and 3. Here we can see that the general course of execution of a Go program or a Go function is that it executes the very first statement within the function, then the second statement, the third, the fourth, and so on till the last statement, and then we say that the function returns. So in this case, we can see that all of our lines are executed sequentially. Defer gets printed, then 1, 2, and 3. So that's about the normal execution of a Go program. So let us see what happens when I use the defer keyword before one of these function calls. When I run the program, I see that defer gets printed, then we see the output of this println function call, 1 gets printed, and then we see that this 3 gets printed and 2 gets printed at the end of all of this output. So what exactly is going on here? Let's try to analyze this and find out. So what is the literal meaning of the word defer? The word defer in English means to put off until later, or you can say to postpone something. So similarly, whenever we use the defer keyword in our programs, it defers or postpones a function call until the end of the enclosing function. In simpler terms, a deferred function is called at the end of the enclosing function just before the enclosing function returns. As you can see in this case, this particular call fmt.println2 will be executed at the end of the main function just before the main function returns. So in light of our new knowledge, let us try to analyze why this program acted the way that it did. When we ran this program, the first two statements ran normally and printed their output. Then we saw that we had a deferred function call. So the Go runtime did not execute this particular function call. Post that, all of the subsequent lines were executed, so we saw the output of 3, and then the main function had ended, and we were having some deferred function calls within the main function. So these functions, these deferred functions, were executed before the main function returns. So for that, we see the output of 2, and then the main function returned, and our program exited. And that is the entire flow that goes on with a deferred function. Now, someone might definitely be tempted to defer all of the function calls within an enclosing function. So what happens when we run this program? If you know what the correct output would be, do tell me in the comments below. Let's try to run this. And what do we see? We see that the output is the complete opposite of the order in which we encounter these function calls in our enclosing main function. So why did this happen? Well, this happened because deferred function calls are pushed onto a stack. And when a function returns, its deferred calls are executed in the last in, first out order, which means that the last function that got deferred is the first one to be executed when the enclosing function is returning, and so on. So here the order of execution would be this function call, then this function call, then this function call, and then this function call. So that is why we see an output of 3, 2, 1 and defer. Next, let us see a slightly tricky example. So what are we doing here? We are declaring a variable a and setting it equal to the string start. Then we are deferring the printing of a, and after that we are setting a equal to the string end. So what do you guys think will be the output of this short program? If you know, do tell me in the comments below, and let's run it and see for ourselves as well. So when I try to run this, I see that the output of this program is start. So what this short example tells us about deferred functions is that their arguments are evaluated immediately at the moment that we defer those functions. So in this case, when we deferred fmt.println a, it was immediately decided that when this function would actually be called, the value of a would be start. and it doesn't matter. I could change the value of a 10 times after this, but that would have no bearing on the value of a when it will be called finally at the end of the main function. All right, so you learned a lot about the defer keyword, but where do we actually use defer in a practical scenario? Let's try to see an example of that as well. So I'm at this website, gobyexample.com/defer, and there's a nice example that they have shown us here. It says, suppose we want to create a file, write to it, and then close it when we are done. Here's how we could do that using defer. So we can see the main function of this Go program. We are calling three functions here. First is the create file, which creates a file for us. Then we are deferring the closing of that file, and then we are writing to the file. So the actual order of execution of these three functions would be that first the file would be created, then it would be written to, and just before the main function is about to return, that file will be closed. So what is actually the advantage that we are getting here? Well, in this short example, it might not be that apparent, but imagine that the creation of the file as well as its closing takes place, suppose, hundreds of lines across in a single function. In such a case, it is many times possible that developers might open some resources, but they might forget to close those resources. Such a situation might lead to many unexpected bugs in our programs and might also lead to resource leakage on our systems, which might end up consuming all our resources and crashing our applications. But with the usage of the defer keyword, we are creating the resource and deferring the closing of that resource in very close proximity. And this ensures that we are mindful of closing all of the resources that we just allocated in our programs and leads to less buggy situations. So I hope all of this discussion was helpful for you. All of the code that we discussed has been updated in this GitHub repository aedorado/learningo, and the file name is deferred.go. If you found the content of the video helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you find the content of my channel helpful, please click subscribe. You can hit the bell icon to never miss any new updates. And like always, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you very soon in a brand new tutorial.